Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to my COVID-19 summer storytelling club. And for those who are just joining us this week, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm Grandma Betty. Now, to review a little bit about last week, I want to tell you, I hope you've written a poem. I hope you went out and found a tree that would hold a swing or build a tree house. And I have a confession to make. Now, we always should step up and tell when we've made a mistake. And I did. I am not a great grandma yet. I guess that's one of my wishes. And I did not tell the full name of the woman who wrote that poem, Trees. Her name is Joyce Kilmer. She wrote it in 1912 when she was just 27 years old. And what was exciting for me, I had someone call me, a friend, and she said, "You won't believe this, Grandma Betty. My mother used to sing that poem to me, and she is so excited that I told you that story." Now, today, the story is about a boy and a kite. Now, one thing we have to do, when I travel to another country, I want you to travel with me in your imagination, in your mind. So I'm going to cover the phone so that you will really close your eyes and follow me. Are you ready? So here we go. Oh my goodness, my magic cape is flying me. Oh look, it's over the Grand Canyon. Oh, if you have not been there, it's the most wonderful thing. And they have these mules that would take you down that steep canyon to the very bottom. Here we go. We're going over. Oh my goodness, we're in San Francisco, and there's that huge San Francisco, the bridge. And what I think I might do is fly not over the Golden Gate Bridge, but under it. So here we go. Zoom, zoom, and look. Oh, look down at the ocean. I see a family of dolphins. There looks like there's a mama and a papa, and there is some babies. Isn't that exciting? And we're quickly approaching where I'm going to land, boys and girls. Oh, I hope we'll hear this wonderful story about a boy and a kite. And can you guess where I am? I am in Vietnam. And it is a story about Zong. He's about 8 years old, and he lives with his father in a village far into the country. And his father works for a very rich man who owns a lot of rice fields. It's a very hard job. And the family, they live in a tiny little hut. And in that hut, there lives, and I'm going to try real hard to pronounce the names in Vietnamese. So if I get them wrong, you might look them up and see if I pronounce them right. there is Zong, and then he lives with his mother, Ma, and he lives with his Ba, and he lives with his grandfather, Noi. Now, one of the favorite things that Zong liked to do was to go out in the fields and fly kites. He didn't have a kite. His family was so poor that they weren't able to buy him a kite. But he had two friends who let him fly their kites and take turns. But there was the son of the owner of the rice field, and he was just a bully. And he had the meanest looking kite of everyone. Look at this kite. And he liked that kite because he thought it would scare everybody. And he would not let Zong use his kite. He was just a bully. So one night at dinner, his grandfather, Noi, noticed that his grandson was really very unhappy. And he asked him, "What is wrong? Why are you so sad?" And he said, "Oh, I wish I had a kite, but I do understand that they're very expensive." Well, you could see his sadness on Bon's and Maud's face because they could not give him one. But the next day, Noi said to Zong, "Why don't we make a kite?" Well, he got so excited and he went out with his grandfather, and they connected all these reeds, and they soaked them so that they could shape them in any kind of shape they wanted. And they worked all day on this kite, and they only finished like the skeleton, the form of the kite. And that night, he was so excited to tell Ba and Ma about what they were doing. And that night, he could hardly sleep thinking about the next day. And when he woke up the next morning, oh my goodness, he did his chores so quickly so he could get on with finishing the kite. Now, I know you boys and girls, you don't go out and play until you've done all your chores. I would love to know what your chores are. I know when I had 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls, and they had to clean up their rooms very good before they could go out and play on Saturdays or watch cartoons on Saturdays. But they tried to just really confuse me because they had other daily chores like set the table, help clear the table, things like that. And I would say, "Okay, Barbie, it's time for you to set the table." And she would say, "Oh, no, it's Earl's time." I would be so confused because I told you I have learning disabilities, and my short-term memory started when I was really young. In fact, my father used to say, "I just wonder if you know your head's attached to your shoulders. You forget so much." And now at 86, everybody else has short-term memory, so I feel right at home. So what I did is I got me a chart, and I charted it out. I learned how to solve problems with this short-term memory. Oh, well, let's get back to the story. The next thing, Zong was wondering, well, what are we going to cover the skeleton with? It has to have a cover in order to the wind to catch it and fly it up. Then, believe it or not, Ma came out, and she was carrying this beautiful robe, all colors of orange, that her grandmother had given her on her wedding day. And being so poor, she had no place to wear it. So she hands it to them and says, use this for your kite, Zong. So once again, all day long, even Ma helped. They cut and they sewed on the skeleton of the kite. And believe it or not, they finished it by the time Ba got home. And as they sat down once more for dinner, Ba said, well, Zong, why are you so excited? I haven't seen you though excited in a long time. What happened today? And Zong went over and he picked up the kite and he says, look, we made a fish kite. Ba was so impressed. But he said, Zong, why? Why in the shape of a fish? And he says, Ba, it's because that is the most favorite thing we like to do when you have time from not working in the rice fields to go fly a kite. Isn't it beautiful? So after dinner, Ba said, let's go try it out. Well, Zong, he did not want anybody to see the kite until tomorrow, especially the bully. And also, he wanted to find out if it could fly higher than any of the other kites. So he went out and checked the field where they usually fly the kite. And sure enough, no one was there. So off they went, and it did. It went up and up and up and up, almost touching the sky. So that night, once again, he could hardly sleep. And believe it or not, he even got his chores quicker than the day before. And off he rushes out, and his two friends are there. And they are just awestruck with the beauty of his kite. And they said, well, since you got to fly our kites, will you let us? And he said, of course. So for a whole hour, everybody had a turn. They were so excited and enjoying themselves. And then here comes the bully. And when he sees that fish kite, jealousy takes a hold of him. Because you see, his kite was made of paper. Excuse me. And this kite was made of silk. And he wanted to fly the kite. And Zong and the other two friends says, no, no. So they ran ahead and they started flying the three of them started flying their kites. And then, lo and behold, as his kite got higher and higher, it got caught way, way up in a tree. And the string broke. And at that moment, the bully knew what he could do. And he started running, and he passed the three boys. And he said, if I get there first, you know, finders, keepers. Oh, I was so scared. And then something happened. There was a big old rock in the way, and the bully tripped over it. And the two friends just ran ahead laughing at the bully. They get what you deserve. But Zong has been taught in a different way. And he stopped. And he helped the bully up. And he said, will you now help me? Because I am so short that I won't be able to climb that tree. So sure enough, that's what happened. The bully climbed up in that tree and brought that kite down, and nothing had not been torn. And so, boys and girls, what do you think Zong and the bully learned that day? I think they learned that it was better to be friends, helping friends with one another, than being enemies. Isn't that what life is all about? And think about it. What's happening in our country? We are trying so hard to learn how to be friends with people who don't look like us, who don't have the same income or opportunities as everyone. Let this story be a reminder that life is so much more full of joy when we help each other. Now my project for today is, we know it's Father's Day. And in the story, the father is so helpful when he has time from his work to play with his son or take him fishing. So why don't you, for Father's Day, the two of you make a kite together and go out and find a safe place. Social distancing, to fly your kite together. I hope you have enjoyed this story, and I hope that you will join me next week. And what I ask you to bring next week is 2 rocks and have some markers, because I want to tell you and read you a story about a rock. Thank you for being with me today. Be safe.